Good afternoon, friends. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. We are going to have our live today with me, attorney Alena Shautsova, immigration lawyer, where I'm going to be sharing with you some updates related to the United States immigration. And in the end, I'm going to be answering your guys' questions. So please join. As always, please let me know where you're watching from. Let me know how you're doing and let me know what questions you have. We're going to be discussing United States immigration laws, what's happening in immigration, and I'm going to be live answering your guys' questions. Thank you very much for our last live. It was very productive. I did have a lot of people joining. Hopefully this one will be as busy. So to help me out, to have more people joining, please don't forget to like and share this stream. And of course, if you're watching on TikTok, please send your hearts. If you're watching on Facebook, send your stars. And on YouTube, please like and share. And we're going to start. A couple of very important updates with regard to USCIS. As you are aware, on April 1st, various immigration fees changed. And most of them were increased, but some of the fees were decreased. And believe it or not, even this change, positive change in fees, now results in issues because whether you are sending too little of a fee or if you are sending too much of a fee, in both situations, if you're sending incorrect USCIS fees, USCIS is going to reject your submission. It is especially true for forms EOIR 42 A and B that are used for cancellation or removal purposes for those who are permanent residents and for those who are non-permanent residents, so-called 10-year green cards. So if previously you would have to pay $85 if you are going through cancellation of removal in immigration court with regard to the fingerprint fee. Now it's $35. And it is confusing, and people send incorrect fees. And the way it works, this defensive filing, that you find out that you sent incorrect fees months later, all right? And you lose this time, and the judge may be upset with you because you're not filing the forms correctly with correct fees. So please, prior to submitting your forms, especially if you're doing it by yourself, verify the accurate fees. It's very, very important. Another interesting thing I wanted to remind you about, and this is not the first time I'm going to tell you about this, is that if you are an applicant for asylum in the United States, make sure you appear for biometric appointments on time, okay? If you have to reschedule, please reschedule, but you still have to appear for the biometric appointment even if you submitted request for a schedule, but it wasn't approved. Why? Because if you don't show up for those appointments, guys, I'm talking about fingerprint appointment, your EAD clock, that clock that you do have to have running for 180 days so that you can receive work permit, is going to get stopped, okay? And it's very difficult to impossible to restart it. Just please keep that in mind, all right? And don't miss that biometric appointment. Very, very important. All right, one more thing I wanted to talk to you about is address change. You are aware, if you are not a citizen in the United States, you must report your change of address to either USCIS or to ICE or to immigration court. You know that. But recently, USCIS changed the way you're going to go about that. If previously you had this form that you could file online and you didn't have to have USCIS account for that, now you must have USCIS account to report your change of address. You also can, if you want, use AR11 paper form, and typically It will be used for people who are in certain protected processes for immigration benefits, such as U visa, T visa, VAWA. Okay, so keep that in mind. The process changed. It's very important to have your process, you have to have your address updated. Why? Because if you missed a notice from USCIS, especially request for more evidence or approval, if it's sent to the wrong address, guys, it's going to be on you, not on them, and you're going to lose time and potentially eligibility for benefits. Just keep this in mind. And now, if you guys have questions, I'll be absolutely happy to answer them. So please send your hearts, send your stars, and let's start. Every week, usually twice a week, I hold these live sessions to help you guys out and give you free tips on how to go about United States immigration. Thank you very much for your kind words, guys. Those who are watching me on Facebook and on YouTube. Hi, Max. Max is asking how long I-730 takes after administrative processing in the United States Embassy in Cairo, Egypt, and the case is refused. Is it temporary or it is a decision? So I understand that your I-730 was actually approved by USCIS and your beneficiary was scheduled for the interview in Cairo, but the consulate decided to send the case, or what they call refuse the visa, and send the case for administrative processing. Well, the bad news here is that there is no really timeline as to how soon administrative processing has to be finished, within what time frame. It may take only a couple of weeks, it may take a couple of months, or even years. The good news is that after some reasonable amount of time, in each case it is different, you may first follow up with the consulate as to the status of that administrative processing, and then you also can contact LegalNet to see if issue may be resolved with them. And finally, you may also file a lawsuit. Now, none of these options are going to guarantee the approval. You have to know that. But some of them at least will work and you're going to get a decision. Okay. I do not know if it's going to be positive or negative, but there will be a decision on that visa. All right. Let me see. All right. Hi, guys. For those of you who are calling my office and would like to speak to me, you guys need to make an appointment. I do hold these sessions for free of charge for you all twice a week usually. But if you would like to have in-person or virtual consultation, we do have to schedule time for that. Just so you know that, okay? It's my phone number is 917-885-2261, or you can book your appointment online anytime at your convenience. Shautsova.com. You can choose what type of appointment you would like to. I have different types of appointments for every budget, and you even can speak with my intake specialist if you cannot afford my appointment. So we do have a lot of different options, flexible options. Don't hesitate to contact us, but we do charge for personal advice. Okay. Now let's see if we have questions on TikTok, and we do have a lot. Thank you guys very much for joining. Please share this stream if you're watching me on TikTok. And let's see how I can help you. Hi, Beppe Jr. Are there any visa available for SIG filed April 2021? If you filed in April 2021, you need to look at the visa bulletin, and visa bulletin is going to tell you exactly what priority dates are being considered in September of 2024. If I had to remember, I think you will have to wait a little bit longer, but I don't remember visa bulletin, what's called EB4 category you have to check, okay? And then you will have your answer if there are visas available for your priority date or not. Hi, Shiraz, I want to apply for green card, but I need to travel home. When will I get the travel document? It's hard for me to know that, because if you are filing for the travel document, how soon the government is going to issue it to you depends on your grounds of eligibility for it, okay? For example, you are asking for a travel document in connection with adjustment of status based on marriage. Typically, you're going to receive it maybe within 3 months from submission. But if you're asking for travel document based on asylum, sometimes such an application will be denied. If you're asking for travel document based on TPS and you did not file for it together with your TPS status, it may take 6 to 7 months before you're going to receive it, okay? So each situation is going to face different processing times. Hi, Hamed, how long does it take for NVC to transfer the case to the embassy? I would say typically about 60 days currently, if I had to estimate in a typical situation. All right. Let me see. Hi, John. How long does it take for the BIA appeal to be decided? In my experience, it is always about a year. All right. That's how long. In my experience. All right. Hi, DC Lubana. I applied my green card from Asylum. My file going MSC being 18 months. How many more months? You can easily check the processing times for a particular service center using USCIS processing times function. Some cases for the green card applicants based on one asylum take less than a year, but some may take a very long time, even years. I hope that everything was correctly submitted in your case, but I want to emphasize the importance of being very accurate with that information that you supply on Form I-485 after you were granted asylum in the United States. More and more cases are being denied. Why? Because it was a sloppy job or USCIS believes that there was fraud. When there are inaccuracies in Form I-485, adjustment of status, in comparison to Form I-589. Just keep this in mind. So when the case is going through this verification process, I would say, then it will take longer than typical 12 months, okay? Again, it doesn't mean that your case will be denied, but you just have to keep it in mind. Hi, Sunny, my I-130 petition is approved 4 months ago, but I-45 is still pending, entered legally, category C9. I'm not sure what's going on here. It can be that you didn't file both of those applications together concurrently, and that's why there is a difference in time. Typically, if you file I-130 and I-45 together, the case, both forms will be approved simultaneously. So I'm not really sure why there is a delay. I wouldn't be able to comment on the situation, unfortunately. All right. Hi, Forever Young. I want to go to Canada, but I'm always getting denied at the border. I was born in Canada. Why? I truly do not know why. If you were born in Canada, I'm not really familiar with Canadian immigration laws. I would assume that you should be a Canadian citizen. If you have proof of that, then you should be fine. But perhaps there is something else going on, or I'm wrong, because I'm not practicing Canadian immigration law, and I cannot even give you any advice with regard to Canadian immigration law. One point I can make is that if you are facing issues at the Canadian border, consult with a good Canadian immigration consultant. They're not necessarily an attorney, consultant. Okay. Hi, Excellence Will. How fast are I-130s being approved? It actually depends who you're sponsoring. If you're sponsoring a spouse, usually 6 to 12 months. If you're sponsoring a parent, it's going to be shorter. If you're sponsoring a sibling, it's going to take longer. Okay, so it depends on who you're sponsoring. The same form can be used to sponsor various family members. Hi, Bila. How long is it taking for visa to be issued and passport return at Islamabad embassy. If everything goes well and the visa is actually approved, only 3 days. But if you happen to be placed in administrative processing, then of course it's going to be longer. Then it's going to be longer. All right. Okay, let me see. Hi, DC Lubana. Yes, I think we answered your question. Hi, Munazam. My current status is F1, and this month I will receive OPT. Congratulations. Let me know what your question is. Let's see. Thank you, Mo, for the rose. Thank you, guys, for your gifts. Can we travel after filing for adjustment of status? Only with advance parole. If you filed for an adjustment of status, you must wait for that advance parole to be approved prior to traveling. Otherwise, your adjustment of status is going to be considered abandoned. Okay. Thank you guys very much for joining. Don't forget, please, to share the stream. Let's see. Hi, A, B, C, D. Can I travel back home after filing for adjustment of status after my husband, or maybe based on the marriage with your husband, who's a US citizen? Again, yes, you can, but you have to make sure that you have that advance parole granted. It's very, very important. You don't want to get stuck overseas, right? You don't want to do that. Hi, Nusrat. How long does USCIS take to send receipt notice in mail? I got the text message with receipt number. Honestly, I would say currently for most applications, it's going to take about 2 weeks. All right? About 2 weeks. Hi, Nasara. How long does it take to get approved refugee travel document? About 7 months. All right. This is the recent cases that we had. It's going to take about 7 months usually, unless you submit requests to expedite your application and USCIS is going to approve it. Hi, a bit. I got married when I was 5 days out of status. Now I want to file my immigration case. My wife is taking disability benefits. Can I win my case? Sure. The fact that you are out of status if you marry a US citizen does not matter. If you married a green card holder, but judging by the fact that somebody is receiving disability benefits, most likely the person is a citizen, the fact that you overstay your visa or fall out of status will not matter in your eligibility for adjustment of status based on that marriage. You will have to show that the marriage is real, and if your spouse does not have sufficient income to sponsor you for a green card, you will have to find a joint sponsor, okay? But you can win that case, correct? If you need our help, please call our office. We will be happy to guide you guys and help you with the process. Hi, Excellent 47. I sent error fee 693. Next question mark. Not sure what you mean by that. Please rephrase your question. I'll be very happy to answer it. All right. How long does it take for visa to be issued and passport return? Yes, we discussed that. Yes. Do you know a solution for Section 212A6E? I'm back in the United States since 10 years ago. I'm not sure what the section stands for. I'll be honest, I would have to look it up. If you give me more information, is it Section E? Is it related to alien smuggling or something else? Let me know, okay? All right. How long does USCIS? Yes, 2 weeks for most applications, right? Hi, Bilar. I got my approved letter after interview, but why does CX status shows refused? I'm not sure. I really do not know. So if you got your approval letter, where is that visa? Because CX tells me that you are in consulate proceedings, right? Maybe reach out to the consulate and find out exactly what's happening. The con. Hi, what about the travel document? I have applied for my travel document and it takes like 12 months. That's a little bit long, all right? And travel document, I assume refugee travel document, It is very long. If you do already have asylum status, it shouldn't be taking you that long, okay? Something is going on. Maybe USCIS forgot about your case. Sometimes it does happen. Hi, Alfredo. My wife was approved for her green card via marriage. How long does it take to receive the green card? It shouldn't take you more than a month. Usually, it actually takes about 10 days to receive the green card after the approval. All right? But maybe there were some delays, it shouldn't be that long. Hi. Let me see. Best, you love you, okay. B, you love you, okay. Hi. I've 30 been approved. 2 years married US citizen. With asylum pending, my I-45 still pending. Any advice? Sure. Why don't you contact the local congressman and ask them to speed up your case, okay? Because if I-130 was approved separately, have you ever been in removal proceedings? I do not know, all right? But the fact that you have asylum pending should not affect your eligibility for adjustment of status. You need to know that. Hi, Ladina. Nice to see you from the Philippines. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Mr. Kaur. I came on a visa and filed for asylum, then married a green card holder. Can he file for my green card? He can start the process. Your green card holder spouse may start the process by filing I-130 form for you, but you will not be able to file for adjustment of status and get that green card until your spouse becomes a US citizen, okay? Because if you are in that preference category, you have to show that you've been maintaining your lawful status. And in almost all jurisdictions in the United States, according to USCIS, pending asylum is not lawful non-immigrant status, all right? Hi, BJ. Can a US citizen cancel his spouse visa after the visa has been granted and it's her first time, I guess, in the United States? Your spouse who sponsored you for a green card in the United States cannot cancel your visa. Visas are issued by the US government and only US government can cancel them. What can your spouse do? Well, they can write something to USCIS, probably saying that you obtained your visa fraudulently. But their so-called tip is not necessarily going to lead to any negative consequences, especially if there was no fraud. And maybe you just guys had a bad fight, broke up. It's not any grounds for cancellation of that visa, which was duly issued, just so you know that, okay? All right. Hi, Anait Sarai. I filed my N400 application, but I noticed my first name is missing one letter. It shouldn't be a problem. You can use correct spelling mistake function in USCIS account and correct it, okay? See whose mistake was that, yours or USCIS when they transferred your information to that receipt or something. If it was your mistake, it's also not a big deal. You're going to be able to correct it either when the case is pending by sending request to correct a spelling mistake or at the time of the interview. I wouldn't stress out about that at all. Hi, Excellent 47. I sent RFE to USCIS, probably response to the RFE for I-45 related medical exam. What's next? Well, next USCIS is going to review the exam for the sufficiency. And if the only thing that was missing, that was in the way of granting your green card was that medical exam, your green card is going to be granted, okay? That's how it's going to be. Hi, KP Lama. Hi there. I was applying TPS last October, but it's still not approved. Do you have any advice? Make sure that there was no error fee issued for you. It is a little bit long, okay? But make sure that there was no error fee issued. If not, I wouldn't worry about that. Also, make sure that if you were convicted of any offenses anywhere around the world, you have appropriate certificate of disposition for those. Because I've noticed recently, in connection with TPS filing, USCIS is focusing on that particular aspect of your application, whether or not you've been convicted, and if you presented sufficient documents to determine your eligibility. Why? Because there are certain convictions that will disqualify you from TPS, all right? So just make sure that all the paperwork is in check, and if it's just a delay, I wouldn't worry about that. Hi, 8-Ball. I'm married to a US citizen for 8 months now, but I got a DUI. Will I be able to get a green card? I do not know. Are you convicted of the DUI? Did you plead guilty? Or was there a jury trial? If so, depending on your state, you have to consult with the immigration attorney to see whether or not that particular conviction presents an issue with regard to your inadmissibility. Most DUIs will not. But sometimes you meet this rare gem that under the state law, and especially if it's an aggravated DUI, may present a big issue, right? Hopefully, it's not your case at all. Hopefully, before you took that plea, you had an immigration lawyer who consulted with you and who advised you whether or not it's a good idea to take that plea, right? But usually DUIs not going to be a problem. In New York, they're not, unless they're aggravated DUIs, okay? After how long National Visa Center sends interview letters? Well, first the case has to be documentary, qualified, right? And then they will send you interview appointment once the consulate has time for you. That's how it works. So for certain embassies, certain locations, it may be a very short time, within 60 days. And for certain locations, it may take significantly longer. All right. Hi, Boss Lady C. If approved, will I-131 parole in place allow travel outside the United States? I don't think so. No. What's going to happen if you are approved for parole in place, you will be able to ask for work permit, okay? But it's not going to serve as the authorization to travel and return, unfortunately. All right, thank you, Nusrat, for your question. My US citizen husband applied for me. I got only I-765 receipt. Is this no for... I guess you didn't receive your I-45 receipt, or if you got your I-765 receipt, it means your I-45 green card application for adjustment of status was accepted, all right? It's not possible to receive receipt for work permit based on adjustment of status pending if your adjustment of status was not actually accepted. Just know that, all right? So you're going to receive that receipt. I wouldn't worry about that. Also, depending on how you paid your fees, if you paid your immigration fees using personal check, check if the check was cashed. If it was cashed, it means that on the back of that cash check in your bank records, you can see that receipt printed. All right? Hi, ABCD. How long we can stay out of the country as a green card holder? Well, technically, you can stay no longer than under 6 months. So let's say 5.5 months, no more than 6 months. In certain situations, if you receive a re-entry permit, you will be able to stay longer than a year, but only with the re-entry permit. But if you stay out of the United States as a green card holder 5.5 months or under 6 months, without the re-entry permit. And quite frequently, for example, you stay out of the United States for 5.5 months, come back for a couple of weeks, leave again, stay again for 5 months, come back, leave again. At some point, CBP officers are going to tell you that you have to either receive a re-entry permit or apply for the citizenship, meaning you will have to stay put in the United States. They're going to give you a hard time at the border, all right? So it's understandable that once you become a green card holder, it's going to take you some time to finish your affairs out of the United States, and you may be not ready to settle. But the point of the green card is that you will be residing in the United States. For that reason, you need to plan your future accordingly. And if you think, okay, I need to finish the job, use the re-entry permit if you believe you're going to stay outside of the country for longer than 6 months. But don't abuse it, because at some point you may be placed in removal proceedings, and the government may argue that you abandoned your green card, right? So do not abuse it. All right, let me see if we have more questions. Hi, Acapio. Please let me know why I-130 is taking so long. I filed an F4 category in April 2019. That's totally common for F4 category to see that I-130s are being processed very slowly. It is so because F4 category is extremely backlogged. Currently, I believe you are looking at 14 years before your beneficiary will be able to use that filing. And actually, it's not such a terrible thing if the government is taking a long time to approve it, because this time will be counted towards Child Status Protection Act. If your siblings have children that may be interested in the Child Status Protection Act in F4 category, okay? All right. Do you know how long administrative processing are taking in Abu Dhabi? Guys, administrative processing for every particular case have different timeline. Sometimes it's just a couple of days, couple of weeks, sometimes it's years. It all depends on your situation, how patient you are, and if you're not patient at all, maybe it's time to act, all right? Earlier today, I shared with you tips on what can be done if you are in administrative processing. This recording will be available on YouTube and Facebook. Please rewatch it and find your answer for free today. All right, let me see. Hi, Jamal. I'm 50 years old. I have a diploma as a cook assistant and a driving license of category B and C. Do I have a chance to work in the United States? Sure. Anybody who can secure an interested employer may be sponsored for a work visa in the United States. Skilled worker, EB2. Unskilled worker, EB3. But you have to find that employer who will be willing to go through the process of sponsorship or perm for you. That may be challenging because the process is lengthy and expensive. Thank you, Ms. Sherpa, for the rose. Thank you very much. Let me answer last questions for today. Hi, Mardukior, 601 pending. 601A is pending. Recent entry for emergency parole. Can I change to adjust status? If you were paroled under 212D5 category, then you should be able to adjust status based on that parole. I would suggest that you show the record of your parole to an experienced immigration attorney, and they will be able to advise you, right? It's very, very important that you go about this the right way. Don't make a mistake. Of course, you have a safety net of I-601A, which is fantastic. But if you can adjust, it will be very, very good, because then you will not have to worry about being stuck overseas. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for your questions, for your gifts, for liking and sharing the streams. Please don't forget to follow me on my social media, because hopefully by the end of the week, we're going to have another live session. And if you do need personal advice, don't hesitate to reach and call us 917-885-2261 or book that appointment on my website, shautsova.com. Thank you guys very much, and I hope to see you soon.